Live. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Find Your Why Foundation Wise Words of the Day with two wise old women, or two wise old women. Anyway, whatever it is. Dr. Bevington.
And I don't know, what's your name?
Chapman. Cheryl Chapman. And good afternoon and welcome to you. Who do we have here? We have some lovely people joining us. We have Teresa Wellard. Yay!
Yeah, I've got my glasses on.
We love Teresa. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Yes, hi, Teresa. So today we continue the wise words in terms of wise questions of the day. We've got lovely Vivian Wajaya joining us as well. Dr. V, manga creator extraordinaire. And the question of the day, which comes to us via one of the wise women in the Live Love Laugh Lounge, or it may even come from one of the wise men in the man cave, or indeed maybe this question came from both of those areas. Who knows? And so today the question is, where is my agenda? That's where the question is.
You're clicking. You click on your things. You've got no things.
Oh no.
I'm anonymous.
I've lost it. Are you anonymous? You're not anonymous.
I am. Look, there's nothing here.
There was something there. Anyway, the question is, why do you go blank in front of a camera or a video? And Vivian's just put here, I did go blank during Facebook Live today. Ha, 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 ha.
Aha.
Now, the question is, Vivian, did you go blank just because you kind of forgot where you were? Or did you go blank as in frozen fear? So the question is, why do we go blank when we go in front of a camera? And obviously that's not everybody, but it's just certain people. So Dr. B, what is the answer? Why do we go blank when we are inside, Dr. B?
When you said it, it just reminded me of a question off Blankety Blank.
Oh.
It was just Lily Savage.
Yes. And what did Lily say?
Why do you go blank in front of a video? Well, fucking any imagination, just
fill in the blank and let's see where we are.
Really blank.
So Vivian's saying she lost her train of thought. I have a thought about that train of thought.
Yeah.
I think basically, Maz, fear because I can't see my audience, she says. So I think there's two types of kind of literally going blank in front of the camera, isn't there? And one of them is kind of from a speaking point of view. So I think we might come on to that one in a minute. But just in terms of this fear of being in front of a camera and not remembering a single thing, a craft moment, as my mother would say, can't remember a freaking thing. Yeah. So what's that all about, Maz?
Well, I've gone blank.
We're in that mood today, aren't we?
All of the going blanks, basically it means that you're not in flow, because going blank or pausing so that you can reconnect to a thought you might have split off from a bit earlier, or to make sure that you finished a point. I don't consider that going blank. That's about putting, how do you segue? One of our great teachers says. How do you actually join things together? Because sometimes when you're speaking, it just become a bit disjointed. And I think even in a normal conversation, you do, don't you? Go, well, so where did that come from? Or what was that about? So I think that's actually, for me, that's not really about going blank. That's just about reconnecting two separate points that you may have had, or forgetting that you hadn't finished a point, and then, like I do sometimes, remember, an hour later, and remember I was saying this. So that's quite different to the literal what I'm going to say. My name's Marion. That going blank is completely about being put into a state, which is a fight and flight or a freeze state. And I think both of them are slightly different, because with fight or flight, you get this kind of panic, and you can feel all the energy going on, and your mouth might be moving and you might be umming and ahhing and shaking, but you're not making any sense of the words that you're saying. But when you're frozen, you can't even get words out. So that's an even deeper state of fear. And they're both brought on by fear, and they're both brought on by triggers that are about not being able to see your audience. So Vivian's quite right. When you can't see an audience, you can't see. So you're panicking. So you're stuck in fight or flight. Well, the good news is it's actually a bit easier to deal with fight or flight than it is to deal with the freeze response. So so that's really good news for you, Vivian. But the whole thing about going blank is it's nature's way of putting the energy that it thinks we need to spend in the right place. So, for example, if you're in fight or flight, your energy needs to be in your legs, so you can leg it, in your arms, so you can knock them out, yeah, or something in between the two. So that all of your energy is going into your body to survive, because the fright, the fear is this belief that you're going to die, regardless of whether or not you would. That's what fear is. It's, am I going to stay alive or am I going to die? And so when you're going to die, it's not important that you speak most of the time. As an animal, anyway, you definitely don't need to be worried about what you're saying as you're dying. Whereas if you can leg it and save all your energy, then that's a really good option to do. But when you go into freeze, that can be quite a different place. Freeze is like when you've had a really deep shock and you're actually in the shock. That is a frozen state, because that's the body's way of reorienting itself, reorganizing itself, getting itself back into alignment. So so when you go into a frozen state, it can take a lot longer to come out of, and it can have a much more widespread effect on the whole body. All sorts of crazy things happen.
You were telling me about those, was it antelope or something, or whether there was a cheetah or something? What was that story you were telling me the other day about the freeze?
So the gazelle, right? So imagine you're a gazelle, and there you are munching away on the grass, and suddenly there's a rustle, and you see them all go, oh fuck, where is it? And all of their ears are pointing and their eyes. So everything orients towards where the threat might be. And if you can see the threat, if you can see the space clear, then there's no threat. So you can relax. But if you don't see the space clear, if something's going on, you leg it. So you're a gazelle, and there you are legging it along the field. And it was a tiger that you saw. And the next thing, the tiger's at your arse, and it's just about to swipe you. And actually, just as it even touches your skin, your body is going to shoot. It's going to stop everything, and it's going to make you fall down dead. And there's two reasons for this. There's loads of reasons. There's two important parts to this. So one is that if you go into a completely frozen state, maybe that animal will think that you're already dead and it won't want to eat you. Yeah. Or it won't notice that you're even alive because you look like a stone, so it won't want to eat you. So it's to confuse the other to save yourself. But also, when you're in that frozen state, now that happens just before the tiger even touches you. Your body knows, the energy, like your aura goes, oh shit, I need to get away from this. And so you can, if you can't get away physically, then what you do is you get away from a sensation perspective. So you playing dead, you're actually also full of chemicals that make you feel okay. They're pain-reducing chemicals, the chemicals that keep you in quite an okay space emotionally, but it means that your whole body is completely numb. So if it did eat you alive, you wouldn't feel a thing. And this is what happens when we're in the freeze state on stage, is that we don't quite go into the play dead mode because as an animal, we are both a predator and prey. So normally if you were only ever prey, like a gazelle is prey, it eats grass. It's not a predator to anything except for grass. So because it is prey, it automatically, the freeze state automatically takes it down like it's dead. But if you're a predator, when you go into the freeze state, it's quite a different thing. You've still got quite a bit of consciousness about you. You're not completely out of it. And so when we're in that frozen state, the body is trying to keep us alive. It's trying to stop us from doing anything, really. So, you know, your body gets kind of stiff and frozen. You might get shaky and trembly, but you really feel like you haven't got much control. The same with the mind and, the words and stuff. So there's a whole cycle of effects that happen when we go into the freeze response. And one of the things that does happen is the more frequently we go to it, the bigger it gets. Because if we don't clear it out, and we're not taught to clear it out, unfortunately, but because we're not taught to clear it out, it's got this kind of compound effect. So every time you end up going to this trauma, it's the same trauma, the video camera, happening every time, but it just feels bigger every time. It feels bigger. And physiologically, the body is actually suffering more as well. Because as this effect gets bigger, it's making a bigger impact on the body.
So is it I've got it. Is it fair to say that the video becomes a cheater, or the predator? So when we're looking at the video camera, there's just something inside of us that makes this into like a really scary thing.
Yes.
And the reason why we then go we can't remember what to say, then that's because we kind of see the camera as the unknown. And I mean, I suppose really like that rustling, we did the rustling for Antelope. It's almost like you don't know what's beyond that camera. You don't know who's there. So when Vivian was saying before, I couldn't see my audience, it's kind of like it's the unknown. And of course, fear is exactly that, fear of the unknown, fear of the unknown outcome, if you like, fear of what people might say. I mean, I think that's a big one, a big trigger, isn't it? I remember when I first went to South Africa and I was given the opportunity to stand on stage, and I'd got me new suit, do you know what I mean? And I'd had my hair done and I was ready to rock and roll. Actually, I look at my hairstyle on Facebook now and I think, oh my God, did I really think that looked okay? But anyway, I had my hairstyle done, I'm ready. I've been practicing. And then I get on the stage and for the first kind of 5 or 10 minutes, I'm okay. But I've got this kind of dry mouth and I'm thinking, oh, why did I have coffee? Because that's clearly dried my mouth out. Remember, don't have coffee again next time. And then I'm looking at the audience and I'm thinking, do they think that my bum looks big in this suit? Are they listening to me? Can they understand me? And all of a sudden, all my attention is on me. What do they think about me? Am I talking rubbish? Am I, what's the people at the back thinking about me who've given me the opportunity to be on stage? In this case, it was, Andy Harrington and Matt Wilson, I remember, was at the back of the stage. And I'm talking away, but I've got this dryness. My hands are getting sweaty. I can feel, I won't go to where the other sweat was. It's not very attractive to share. But all this is happening and I'm really starting to feel very, very conscious. And I guess that's the same kind of thing as, there's this unknown predator, starting to come into vision, which is the audience. I don't know what they're thinking, and I'm like,
you found the problem, but you can't run away because you've got the thing in front of you now.
Yeah.
And the other thing is as well, again, we said this, I think, yesterday, that the survival instinct of the human is that it needs the society. And one of the things that happens with a gazelle is, it's really important when you're doing trauma therapy work as well, is that you learn how to orient. So you learn how to look and see something that's friendly. So when you look at your tribe,
yes,
then you get that friendly feeling. And if you don't get it, then you go back into a sort of state of trauma. So yeah, absolutely not. Because us doing this together makes it really easy, doesn't it? It'd be very difficult for us, actually, no, because I did rabbit on quite a lot when I was on my own, but I do go onto my own little planet. But to have a discussion and not really be self-conscious about what people might see when they watch it is quite easy, because we've got dialogue going on between us, and we know that we're here to help each other, even though what we say might not be exactly the same, but we're here as a team to support each other. And so we've got that social connection between us. So it's much easier. So if anybody is thinking about doing videos or live videos, it's quite nice to do it as a pair.
And also interviewing people, we've both done interviews. And again, that's quite easy because you can prepare a list of questions. So let's have a say, we've got some lovely ladies joining us here. So we've got Teresa, and Teresa's saying, is it because our instant fast world we're rushing thinking before we're being too slow? Oh, okay. So is it because in our instant fast world we are rushing, thinking we are being too slow and appearing boring? So yeah, I mean, everything's like super fast broadband, well, apart from around here. Everybody's working at a rate of knots. We talk really fast because we're from the north anyway.
And when I watch back what I'm saying, I think, why the bloody hell didn't I explain that? I've just said this thing that's like really meaty. It's dense. It's got loads of content, and I've gone and straight on to the next point. So actually, we do rush. I mean, definitely, on air, because time is precious, and you've got this. The 2.4 nanoseconds is the average attention span of a person on Facebook. So you're like, I've got to catch your attention really, really quickly. And then I've got to get all of the facts out really quickly. But actually, and we both know this from the speaking world that we're in, that if you repeat and slow down and stay on a point, that's the best way to actually inform people. Because, looking at things from different perspective expands our awareness about the thing. So tell me about it once, but then show me other faces, other perspectives of it, and I'm going to understand what you're talking about a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lovely quote, isn't there, that if you read a book and you see something that wasn't there before, the truth is it was there before. It's just that maybe you weren't ready to receive it. You couldn't see it. It was always there. The book hasn't changed, but it's what you're hearing, isn't it? So yeah, I absolutely agree, Teresa. We're all so fast. We're trying to be fast and engaging and get somebody's attention. But actually, the main thing here is, who is your audience? Yeah. Because if your audience is somebody that doesn't like this fast world and actually wants to get a little bit of calm and peace, and we know Teresa does you know, great work helping parents and grandparents with children, you know, understanding your children. So if you think about kids, you know, you have to be a little bit slower with the child. Their English language is not as evolved as, well, Marion's. I mean, I'm not quite sure if mine's evolved that much since I was little. I've still got the same words. But seriously, you know, a child's vocabulary is not as dense. So, you know, if you're going to teach somebody to speak to children, then, you know, your style, Teresa, will be absolutely lovely and will be right for your audience. And here's the thing. If it's not right for everybody, it doesn't matter. You know, look, I swear, you know, I'll throw an occasional swear word in on any of the Facebook lives, not consciously, but I'm not going to not swear, because if you come and work with me or work with me and Marion, you're going to hear me swear. Anybody who knows me, you know, knows I swear. You can all start putting laughing faces now. You know, occasionally I'll swear. Everyone's like that, like all the time. So there's no point me trying to be somebody. How can I do anything? I can't do anything to cover your face up. I've got a potty mouth. So I'm going to share who I am, because that's who I am. And if you don't like me doing a little bit of a swearing on this, then you're definitely not going to feel comfortable being around me. Okay, let's have a see who else we've got joining us. So great comment there, Teresa. So just be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Sharon Howarth. Hello, lovelies. Tuned in on the right time. Fear of Facebook Live. Well, you did have a fear of Facebook Live, lovely, didn't you? And you may still have a fear of Facebook Live, but you popped your cherry. She can't do that. In Marrakesh. Yes.
She certainly did. And I think, Sharon, if you remember what we did before that Facebook Live, all I said to you is, you're going to go on, it's going to be 2 minutes. And you said, well, I don't know what to say. And I said, well, you're going to say, it's my first Facebook Live. I'm popping my cherry. And then off you went. And you were on for well over a minute, I'm sure. And I gave you 2 sentences to help you to start. Yeah. So, again, knowing what is the point that you're trying to make and who you're speaking to, I think that's really important as well, isn't it? Knowing who the audience is that's on the other side of the camera. And if you don't know, well popped, if you don't know who the audience is on the other side of the camera, then imagine that they're all your best friends. So when you orient towards them, you're like, oh, they like me. It's my social group. I'm safe. And then you don't have to go into fight or flight or fleas. Yeah.
Fight or flies or fleas. So Sharon said, I've arranged a Facebook Live for my group next week. Brilliant. Well done. A friend is joining me. We don't know what I don't know, and I'm hoping he will be easy. Yeah, it is easier in a pair to begin with anyway, until I become comfortable with not having the answers. Good. So you found a way around being able to continue to do what you started in Marrakesh in a way that kind of serves you. Look, there's always fors and against, right? One of the fors of being together is we're chatting. You know, if I do lose my track, Maz will put me back on track, or she'll go off into Planet Marion. You know, and if she goes off into Planet Marion, then I might try and, you know, bring her back. Or at least if I think, hang on, I'm a bit confused, let me just check in. I can ask the questions that maybe, you know, yourselves are thinking about that. But also, it's just kind of like a normal conversation. You know, we can talk for hours and hours and hours, and we've proved that. So now we're trying to keep on topic. So, of course, we've got a wise question of the day. That keeps us on topic. So what's your topic? Because I suppose one of the questions is, OK, I know that I go blank in front of the camera, but what can I do to be calm in front of the camera? So it is, know what your topic is. What is it you want to achieve, like Maz just said? Who are you speaking to? What do you want to help them with? And then you can make a few pointers. And I'm not saying you have a script. Absolutely not. No, nicht, nein, nada, whatever could put. I don't know whatever you mean. Never, ever, ever.
If you've got a script, read it.
Yeah, or if you've got it, get it out and go, hello, today I'm going to be a newsreader. I'm going to read this script. I've attached a copy in the agenda so you can read it as well. And let's be really boring together. Don't have a script. It won't ever work. You can have a few notes. So let's say I had a few notes here, which I haven't actually, because this is just my last coaching call notes. But if I did, if I put my notes there, you can't see them, but I can look straight at those notes if I needed a little reminder. Then I've dropped it and I'm back again with you. And then I might think, okay, have I covered everything else? And so I'll just bring them up again. I'm still talking to you as I'm doing it. I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, there's another little reminder. Thank you very much. You can have a few prompts. You might have a few stickers, you know, just on top of your computer so they can't be seen, just as a safety net if you want it. But to be honest, the best thing to do is just share what you believe, share what you know, and just have a conversation with this camera. If that alienates you, if you start to fear, put a picture of somebody behind the camera that you know, that you love, that you like, that you feel safe about. So I might have put a picture of, you know, my nephew, for example. So he's not going to judge me. I'm just going to have a conversation with him. Or it might be your avatar, which might be more important, actually. So who is the person you want to help in your business? Who is it that you want to help with that conversation? And put a picture of them behind. And then you know that when you're speaking to them, you're speaking just to them because you want to help them. Because that's exactly what's happening here. We want to help you to be able to get you on camera. Because if you've got something brilliant to say, if you've had some experience in some type of area, what you know will help other people. Raise your hand if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So what else have we got? So well done, Sharon, and brilliant that you've got that there. Oh, sorry, the downside of being in two is that one may potentially take over and the other one may say something that you don't agree with. But that's okay, because you can go, that's really interesting. Actually, I've always thought of it like this way. That makes sense. So you just really genuinely... And
I think also, and other than talking over each other... the other thing that happens, but the way you said the question, Sharon, was about helping you to get over the fact that you don't know everything. Well, I would suggest that you maybe want to start. You might have yourself a little tagline. Hi, I'm Sharon, and I don't know everything, but I'm here today to share with you what I know.
Be honest, be open, be vulnerable.
If you think that you have to know everything, you're never going to learn how to enjoy it. You have to drop the fact that you are not an encyclopedia. You have to, because you're not. And if I wanted information from an encyclopedia, I could read it. I wouldn't listen to you. I'd go and read it. So it's about sharing what you know, what your opinions are, and being open to be disagreed with, to be corrected, to be, you know, to share different opinions. It's like, you know, to agree, to disagree. It's absolutely normal. And I think we should all do more of it, really.
Yeah. Teresa's saying, ask a question and we need to give an uncomfortable time to answer. Best as much as 16 seconds. Okay, if I'm really honest, Teresa, I don't know what you mean by that. What, do you get an understanding from that question there?
I don't know if she's talking. Teresa, are you talking about pausing when you've asked a question on? So if I was on video, I don't pause as much as I would if I was on a stage and I could see people. Because this is specifically about video. For me, I might suggest if I want people to give them a couple of minutes to think about, and we've done this in the past, we've done it different ways. I might say pause, or maybe put a bit of music here while you answer this question or while you think about this thing. So with video, you control it in one way. But when you're on stage, absolutely, if you're giving people answers, if you're giving people questions and you want them to come up with answers, especially uncomfortable, then you need to give them time. You need to give them time to dig down into their own emotional packages, if you like, see what they can.
Teresa, if there's anything else you can add there, just if Marion's understood that correctly, then that's great. If not, then just add something else, because it's a useful question for the people. You know, how long do you pause? You need to pause because you need to pause to be able to breathe, and you also need. Oh, she does understand, yeah. And then you also need to be able to pause. If you're saying something absolutely crucial, vital, significant, that you want your audience to really grasp the concept of this amazing bit of content that you've given them, then yes, a pause is brilliant. Because it's a bit like when I said before, you know, those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. So just have a think about that for a minute. Those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. So if your fear of speaking down a camera is because you're worried that people may judge you, then you need to build a bridge and get over yourself. That's what I was going to say, put a paper bag on your head.
You
talking to me?
No, the person who's worried about it.
Yeah. So can you see how there were a few pauses? Because I want you to be able to think about what I'm saying. But at the same time, you know, it's not like a 16-second. It's just in my mind, I'm thinking, is that enough time for them to get that? Yes, I think it is. I'm able to then breathe at the same time. And because I'm able to breathe at the same time, of course, it means that then I can speak again for another couple of sentences without doing the, you know, my body thinks I'm dying because I haven't taken a breath in for a long time. So, yeah, great. So who have we got? So good question. I'm glad, Teresa, that makes sense. There's another bit which is called a rhetorical question. So if you've got a question on video, like we're kind of interacting with you, with you lovely ladies now, but we're not really having the conversation. The conversation is between me and Maz. So what you might do is you might say, well, you know, you might be thinking, well, how on earth do I get over this fear of speaking in front of the video? Well, the way you get over, so I've asked the question I think you're going to ask, and then I answer it. So I wouldn't leave 16 seconds. I might leave a few seconds. So how do you do that? Well, let's just think about that for a minute. Here's step one. So that's the other use of the pause as well. We've got lovely Elizabeth Goddard joining us. Hello, Elizabeth. With the word passion. Passion. And a thumbs up. And also, do you ever enjoy going live? This is the best part of the day. Is me and Maz getting together. One, it means we do communicate on a daily basis, even if it's with you, and then of course we talk afterwards. But in terms of this, is just like phoning your mate and having a chat, except we just happen to be on camera and we're inviting all our other friends in. So here's a little tip that I heard a long time ago. I'll give credit where credit's due to the lovely James Lavers, and he said that when you do a Facebook Live, imagine that you've invited all your friends to your house. And as your friends arrive, you say hello to them, don't you? You wouldn't open the door and then just walk in. So obviously we've said hello to everybody that's on the call so far. And as people arrive from time to time, we'll stop and we'll just, you know, open the door and welcome you in. So if you've just joined us and you don't know what we're talking about, what we're talking about here today is why is it that I have this fear, you know, when I get in front of a camera? So why do I go blank in front of a camera? So this is in front of a camera specifically. And of course, we've talked about the fight, fleas and freeze. fight, and fleas. That's it. And there's another example. That was a mistake. But I don't care. Does that make sense? Because I'm a human frigging being. And guess what? I'm not perfect. So I'm just laughing it off. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. Does it, Marion? No.
I think you should. Because that puts your audience at ease.
Because if you're trying to be Polly perfect or Peter perfect, they're going to get that bow and arrow out and try and put a chink in your armour. Because they'll be like, oh, look at all this polished and poshness and whatever it is, you know, polishedness, oh, perfection. And they will try to find something wrong with you. I don't know who they are, but they will. I didn't know
the people from Dead Enders, aren't they?
Yeah. Who knows?
But there's another question from Elizabeth. She's talking about, she loves James. We love James too. But so that you're being specific about getting over the nerves. Okay. So Elizabeth, what I would ask you to do is to start to contemplate, why are you nervous? Because there's going to be some specifics, and those specifics are going to be the triggers that we were talking about at the beginning of this broadcast. And so the nervousness is once you understand what's the worst thing that could happen, you know, what's the thought, what's it triggering you into fearing, because there's a huge fear of something. You know, it might be being judged, it might be making mistakes, it might be just my bum look big in it. Whatever the fear is that you've got is then creating the nervousness or the anxiety. And the way that we deal with that is, so you can use EFT, Cheryl does hypnotherapy, and just rapid transformation therapy. There's a process called BWR. There are lots of different processes that actually dissolve the triggers, because they can take you back. We create two spaces. You create the old space where the old trigger and the old fear was established, and you create a future space of how it's all going to be when it's bloody brilliant and you're enjoying it every single time. And then you use whatever process is appropriate for you. Sometimes you need more than one, sometimes one is fabulous. And you start to unravel the old triggers, and you start to build and transform all of what you're unraveling into this new future possibility of absolutely brilliant love going live.
Yeah. I heard once that if you still get the butterflies in your stomach and you still feel nervous before you go on stage, that's a really good thing. And I know that I've heard, about learning about butterflies all flying in formation. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, it's utter shite. Seriously, I can't think of any other way to put it, because I don't have any fear. Honestly, what happened, if we should really do an outtake of this, shouldn't we? What happened 40 seconds before this presentation started is we weren't online. I've just finished eating a sandwich. And Marion was just rearranging a chair so you could get some of those pictures in the back because she thought she'd have a different view. And it literally was, are you there? Yeah, I'm coming. Okay, 23 seconds and we're on. Have you had a good day? Yeah, great. I'll speak to you in a minute. And we're going. There were no butterflies. There was nobody flying in formation. There were no deep breaths. We're not preparing. We just arrived because what we have is good enough if you think it's good enough. And if you don't think it's good enough, you ain't sticking around and listening, and we'll soon get the message. Yeah. If people don't think this is good enough because they prefer they've got a different set of beliefs, or, we don't connect with them, that's absolutely fine. We cannot be everything to everybody. Yeah. That makes sense. You can't be everything to everybody. So stop trying because you're on a hiding to none. Just be you. Be you, and people who like you will resonate with you. And people who don't like you, that's fine. They'll go and resonate with somebody else. But it's not a personal vendetta. They're just not on the same wavelength as you. That makes sense. Yeah. Some people prefer Radio 2 to Radio 1. I mean, whatever it is, it's just a preference. Not a judgment, just a preference. Well,
the thing is, it is a judgment, isn't it? Because, so, Elizabeth, you've put what people think of me and how they're going to judge me and who do you think you are. Well, everyone judges you. If I like you, I'm judging you. I'm saying that you're nice. If I don't like you, I'm judging you. I'm saying that you're nice. So we're always judging it. So it is actually negative judgments that you don't want. Well, my usual saying, build a bridge and get over yourself. There'll always be negative as well as positive. You can't have one without the other. So when we really begin to accept that, and I can't remember how, because I've got a feeling, Elizabeth, that you know a bit about EFT, but I might be wrong about that. I'm not sure. But if you don't, then, look into it. We've got some blogs on our FindYourWHY Foundation website. Yeah, you do. So for me, EFT is my go-to tool when it's me or somebody else and you've got something to do and you're a bit nervous or you're a bit discombobulated, our word of the week. So when you get a bit discombobulated, allow yourself to feel that and tap on it. So even though I'm feeling discombobulated, I'm okay. I'm learning how to love and accept this state I'm in. But then always create the future frame, create how you want it to be, especially when you're tapping, because as you go into that future picture, you have to put yourself in the state, even to get the words together, to say them when you're creating this future picture. And so just by creating that, a part of your psyche is already stepping into that new, better way of being. And obviously, as you're tapping, you're clearing the pathways to get to that positive place. I think I'm doing that right.
So this is one of the things that you can do to calm yourself. So Teresa's asking what is EFT, which is great. So there's a question. So for those people who don't know what EFT is, it's also known as tapping. And Teresa, the great news is because you're one of our wonderful wise women in the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge, there are resources in the lounge. So we will, Marion will tag you later on because there's a post about it. But basically it's tapping. But Marion, do you want to just explain what EFT is for the ladies and gents that don't?
Yeah. So it's called emotional freedom techniques, and at a really basic level, it's tapping on acupuncture points. And what happens? The acupuncture points, they're like lines of energy. They're like the wiring in your body, if you like. When we have traumas or shocks or problems or dramas, this wiring, the electricity goes a little bit haywire. So you're not getting a really clean flow of energy through your meridians, which are the acupuncture system. And so as you tap on these points and you allow your body to go into that discombobulated place where the energy is a bit fucked, as you tap in, it starts to like rewire the system, if you like. It reorganizes the flow of energy is what it does. And so by tapping and allowing yourself to go to an experience that would make you feel uncomfortable, you can actually dissolve the feeling of discomfort because you've reorganized the energy. And when that energy is reorganized and flowing well, you can't feel uncomfortable. So even though, well, you would if they put you in front of a lion, I'm sure it would bring back the fear.
It's like a like a coothing. Don't even know what that word. I just made that word. It's coothing. That's what it is. Coothing, cuddling, and soothing. It's a little bit like, for me, because I've been on the other end of it as well quite recently. For me, it's a little bit like when you're a kid, you know, and you just wanted somebody to just like hold you and, you know, just make you feel a little bit safe. It's that kind of feeling, because it just really calms everything down. You know, the tears and the tantrums go out of the way, and it just helps you to just kind of just feel a bit more grounded, really. I want to say hello to a few people who've just arrived at the front door of this lovely party. Thank you for joining us. So I want to say hello to Lynn Cadman. Hello, Lynn. And I want to say hello to Joan Mercer, because Joan's saying that it's worked for her, so she's tried some EFT. So welcome, Joan. Hope you're well. Elizabeth, thank you. She's got to go, so we'll see you at the next party. Thank you for joining us. And I want to just go back to, I'm laughing with our lovely Sharon, who said, I've already got that line sorted, which I think is when she's saying, hello, my name's Sharon and I don't know everything.
Yes.
That's lovely. And also Vivian. Now, Vivian was talking about some of her fears are, you know, am I sharing too many basic things, as in, is it boring, or do I come across as too salesy? Well, again, you're trying to second read your audience. And if you come in with the intention of whatever I am giving here is what my avatar, my ideal client, you know, the ideal person that I want to help, you know, if you don't have a business and you just want to share some great things. I know, Vivian, obviously you have a business as well. You can only start by giving information. And so if you know that your ideal customer already knows about what you're talking about, then you can perhaps give a quick reference to it and then get into the nitty-gritty. But if you're trying to find people who are just beginning their journey, you know, into what you want to share with them, then of course it's not going to be boring. It's going to be information. So, you know, you can add some information. I mean, what we could do here is we could have some things behind us if we wanted to have some charts. But this is just literally a question of the day. If we're teaching, we might want to have some visuals. Does that make sense? Because otherwise it is, you're just listening to our words and seeing us do like random things occasionally. So the biggest tip I can give you is, in order to be calm, just know what your intention is for that particular you know, video show, or for that particular 5-minute video, or for that particular Facebook Live. What is your intention? What is it that you want to help your audience with? And whatever you give them will be right for the right person at that right time. Does that make sense? Cool. Anything else to add, Marion, before we
Teresa, you've got access to the lessons. Is that right? She will have, won't she?
Yes, she has. She's got access to. Well, she's got access to the lounge. So if you could tag her on the tab.
So, Teresa, if you haven't yet accessed the videos, the membership site videos, because there are a couple of videos that really go through explaining EFT and even take you through some sessions as well. So if you haven't got access to that, let me know. Just let me know on you can let me know now, or you can let me know on the page, or you can come to the Q&A at 7 o'clock, which is in about 20 minutes. And we can help you to get more information on EFT, because because it's a self-help tool as well. It's a little bit of magic that I like to share with everyone.
That's a really good part, because for the wise women who joined us, the Find Your Why Foundation membership, tonight is Q&A. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there myself, but lovely Marion will be there to answer any questions around anything that you have come across. So you may have watched the video last week. And when you watch the video, you may now be thinking, oh, I've got a question about that video. Remember, you don't have to figure it out on your own, and you don't have to do it alone. So the live Q&A is part of the membership, part of the £19.99 that you pay. And as you know, every week you get a lesson, you get Q&A, you get an expert. Next week, you're going to have an expert on social media. We've brought you an amazing lady next week, or we will be bringing you an amazing lady next week who's going to talk about social media. And then week after, we're going to give you some new tools and tips and techniques. As well, of course, you can share all the questions that you want to in the lounge. And if anybody's interested in finding out more about the Find Your Why Foundation, please just go to www.findyourwhyfoundation.com and just search on the membership bit. And we'd love to see you in there. And if you join now, you can join Marion in 20 minutes on the live Q&A.
Yes.
But yes, if you're in there, please use all the tools. If you're not a member and you're interested, then just, you know, as I say, take a look at the www.findyourwhyfoundation.com. FindYourWHY.com, or just drop us a line if you want to find out more. So, yes, so the question is, why do I feel scared in front of the camera? Well, that's because you're thinking that there's a saber-toothed tiger about to attack you. And what can you do to calm yourself? Just give the ladies a few little more hints about how to calm themselves, Marion, before we go. So
calming yourself, feel your feet on the ground. Just notice the feeling of your feet on the ground. You can notice your breathing. You can just bringing attention into you and stopping your attention being out of you will generally release quite a lot of anxiety and reduce the symptoms. So yeah, feeling your feet on the floor, bit of breathing, just noticing. Don't even try and do deep breathing. Just notice how the breath is, because it will naturally begin to calm as it's like if you look at it, it will calm down. And tapping is another great one as well. And one of our favourites is peripheral vision, because when you are in peripheral vision, which means as I'm looking ahead right now, I notice that the ceiling is there. I notice the floor is there. I notice the wall and the wall. So I'm here looking, but I can see all of this stuff around me. I can see what my hands are doing, and I'm still looking at you. And that is an open, creative space in mind. And it's actually, if you stay like that, it's impossible to have symptoms of anxiety. So it really does switch the brain into relaxed, being yourself mode all over again.
Yes, which is fabulous. So again, we want to say thank you very much for joining us. Joan, I know you've put, so what do I do to become a member? You just go to the FindYourWHY, www.FindYourWHYFoundation.com. I'll put a link under your question, actually, Joan. It's £19.99 per month. The first month is only $9.99, just so you can test us out. No contract. If you want to leave at any time, you can do. But it's a great place to join. Live, Love, Laugh, Lounge if you're a woman. And if there are men wanting to join, we have the man cave for the men. And I'm sure that anybody else who is in the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge who's on the call will be able to say, yes, it's a good idea. So, yes, thank you so much to everybody for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the WHY's question of the day. We will have another WHY's question tomorrow. And if you've got any questions that you want us to discuss, then please, again, let us know what those questions are. So, in the meantime, remember to live, love, laugh every day. And it's goodbye from her.
And it'll be goodbye from me.
Goodbye. Bye.